What's going on, gang? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Titans Returns Deluxe Class Windblade. Now, this Windblade is significantly different than the Windblades we've gotten before. Her styling is much more of a traditional Transformers figure, and, well, her limbs are a lot more brickish than a normal Transformers figure, or I should say a normal Windblade figure. The figure's head sculpt is quite good and retains the kind of geisha look that they are normally going for. However, because she is a Titans Master or Titans Returns figure, they have certain proportions that they need to keep. So her crest comb is nowhere near as big or as good looking as, well, previous figures that have been released. Now, I can't find my Generations figure, but I do have the Robots in Disguise figure, so I'm going to show you a comparison. As you can see, the difference in the build between the two figures is pretty extreme. While the new Titans Returns figure is much more brickish and blocky, the original RID figure is much more thin. And I understand what they're going for, but I don't think the thinness works with the toy because you have all of the plane components hanging off, and it makes the figure, even though she looks thin, quote unquote, it's not a very stable figure. And the Generations figure has the exact same problem. Because it's so thin, it doesn't stand up well, and it has issues, where this new Titans Returns figure does not have that issues. The one oddity, though, has to do with the forearms, because you have these larger upper arms and then these very, very thin, small forearms. It's incredibly weird why they did this. I kind of understand what they're going for, but it just throws the balance of the whole figure off a bit. Windblade has excellent posability. Head is on the Titan Master joint, ball joint in the shoulder, swivel at the upper arm, 90-degree bend at the elbow. Torso is a series of swivels and ratchets. I'm sorry, not torso, hips. Thigh swivel, over 90-degree bend at the foot, and there is some toe articulation. So you can get some decent poses off, but there is quite a large backpack. It's a massive backpack. It's just real big. I also forgot to mention that turbines spin freely, so you don't have any problems there with posability. Windblade does come with two very large swords. I mean, they're almost as tall as she is, that combine into a larger sword from Final Fantasy VII. Okay, it's a Final Fantasy sword, not just 7. And you could fit a Titan Master in right here, and it really looks like the Titan Master is flying or surfing on this giant sword because the handles look like rocket engines coming out of the back. It's funny. I like the way this just ends up looking. She has no problem wielding the swords. In fact, they actually give a little bit of a counterbalance to all the backpack kibble. And I think the swords look good. Yeah, they're yellow. I would have preferred maybe a blue or the pink that she normally comes with, but it works. You could store both swords on her backpack very easily using this one yellow peg that's sticking out and the two little peg holes in the back. So you get this nice look of her having two giant freaking swords hanging off her back. Yes, it does affect the overall top heaviness of the figure a little bit, but not too much. Oh. Oddly, Windblade's transformation is exactly the same as Titans Returns Highbrow. It's weird. So to start off with, obviously, pull off the head. Come to the backpack where the canopy sits, flip it around, and it will peg into the Titan Master joint, and we could flip down the landing gear right there. Then come to the hips, pull them down and away from the figure until they click, fold the feet down, and then flip the legs up, and the toes will peg into place on the backpack in that little spot right there. And then you could just push them together. They don't actually peg together. They just kind of lay there together. Then take the arms and fold them down and turn them, and they will peg into this little joint behind the hips. So peg it down. Very, very simple transformation and pretty elegant except for the hands sticking out. If there were larger forearms, you wouldn't have that problem. You wouldn't have the hands sticking out. They would have been able to fold up into the forearm, but no, you have these super thin forearms. Oh, and then you fold the wings down and place the Titan Master in the cockpit. And then we're done. And what you end up with is a nice vehicle mode that really could use some more paint, maybe some blue or some white. But I like the vehicle mode. I do. I think it looks really cool. And like I said, it's very similar transformation to Highbrow, which is one of my favorite Titan Masters, or Titan's Returns figures, I should say. I like this figure. I do. Except for the visible hands in vehicle mode. That's dumb, but I think Hasbro could fix that with a retooling of the mold a little bit. You could fit the swords underneath. There are these little yellow pegs that peg into the bottom of the wings. I prefer having them point that way, but if you're so inclined, you could turn them around and have the actual swords point backwards, and then the handles can become blasters like that. And either way works. Either way is perfectly fine. On the back of the vehicle mode, there are also 2 pegs for a Titan's Master to stand on, or 2, and there is a peg hole just behind the canopy for one of the weapons. Overall, I like Windblade. I think it's a good figure. It's definitely better than any of the other Windblades we've gotten before. It is a lot of fun, it holds together well, and it has no problems standing up, which is a big positive in my book. Transformation is a little bit simple, but I'm fine with that. The only real complaint I have is the fact that the forearms are too small. I think the forearms need to be thicker to A, match the rest of the figure, and B, to be able to fold the fists up into the forearms for flight mode. Overall, Windblade is definitely worth having in your collection and is a lot of fun. So gang, I hope you have enjoyed this video review. As always, I am Baltmatrix. I ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.